Alright, those are our notes. Right? That had maybe a Celtic sound to it. I'm not, really sure. It depends on what you think about it. But I was doing all sorts of things with it. And if it's complicated for you and that's too much to handle, you can take a scale shape like that and work with it in a group of 3 strings. Right? So you're taking your 6 strings and dividing it in half. So if we just took the bottom half of that, right? Nothing fancy about that, and I know it doesn't sound immensely impressive, but that's the first step, is your note arrangement. You're figuring out what voicings you want to come through. And, when I'm improvising or when anybody's jamming, that they're doing it on the spot, but they're able to do it because they've had years of practice of doing it consciously. Like they've sat down and worked with it in that fashion. So that's the first thing that you can do with any guitar solo that you're trying to write, and in a way, even the chords, is to sit down and just say, oh, I like the way that note skips over that note and goes to this one, or the way that this note blends into this note better. So think about that first. Get your notes down. Get a pattern that sounds good, feels good to you, something that you really like. We can even do kind of a pentatonic shape based out of that. There's so many options. So I can't really sit here and tell you to do this and do that. Here's where I can't take you by the hand. But these are the principles of guitar soloing. Okay? The next aspect, before I get to that, let me go ahead and throw up the backing track again. And I'll try and do some clever sounding note arrangement off the top of my head with the backing track. Again, not my best work, but for the process of example, it works fine. The next step is to think about timing and rhythm. And I know that I'm leaving out some stuff because these are quite immense subjects that you can really talk a lot about. Timing and rhythm. I don't really like to talk about things in terms of time signatures because I work on more of I don't want to say an advanced level, but I work on a level where I've listened to a lot of like island music and a lot of odd time signatures from world music around the world. But the thing to think about here is I like to work within personally hesitations. If you have like a span of notes, you have your note arrangement and you have a grouping of notes, say like, 6 notes, right? And if I just wanted to play that, let's see. Right? I'm not going to reorder those because I don't have time to think about it. But those are the first 6 notes of that scale shape. And we wanted to fit it in with the timing. What you could do is something, when I talk about timing, you could play the first 4. Right? And then hesitate, leave a little pause, and then cram in the last 5 notes that was. And you can, that's not a rule. You can do it any way you want. Oops. Right? So it's all about mixing it up. Play one part slow, then try and fit in the rest of the notes quickly, or vice versa. You can start out fast and then top off the rest of it slow. You want variation. You like that hand movement? Let me do that with the backing track. Okay, I know, worst soloing I've ever done, but so that's the next step. So you've got note arrangement. Say you've picked out the notes that you want. Then you need to think about the timing, and it really works to do it the way I'm doing it, which is with a backing track. and sit there and really enjoy it and jam over it and see what you come up with. There are no rules to this, and this is where a lot of people get into arguments with each other, because there's kind of some scientific properties about how you can go about it. Like I'm laying out for you the groundwork of what can make a really good solo, but within those spaces, it's your call. And in my opinion, you really can't go wrong in those spaces because it's all interpretation. So yeah, so you've got different groupings of notes, 16ths and so forth. You can play it in eighth notes, this part. The number of notes that you're using can change the outcome, an odd grouping of notes, but you can still find ways to rush it and fit it in or slow down. Okay, the next step is accentuation. I'm putting myself to the test here. Let's see how well I can do at this. So accentuation would be the things that you have to work with that are really colorful, like hammer-ons and pull-offs, slides. In the case of the person who sent me this question, they were doing some tapping, harmonics, and bends. When you get into it, you can also get into little techniques and then big techniques like sweep picking. I mean, there's so much stuff that you can do here. And I'm going to work within the realm of just small techniques, okay? And let's say that in terms of the note arrangement, let's see, I'll do this off the top of my head the best that I can, guys. I'm going to take those 6 notes, and let's say I chose something like that. I'm going to try and remember that. I like that. That's pretty. Okay? I can do whatever I want to that in terms of the accents. That's what I mean by accentuation. I can slide up. Let's see. So we could do just slides. Right? But that's kind of mundane because you don't want to sit there and abuse the technique, so we could... little bend in there. Already sounds pretty sweet. Not perfect, not beautiful, but pretty cool. Little hammer-on pull-off action. Sorry about that bad note, but... right? Listen to that. I mean, that's not perfect, but it really cleans it up a lot. Little things like that. I'm using a little bit of pinch harmonics in there, not much. I got my guitar and the rhythm pickups of the harmonics are real wide sounding. They're not squealy, but that kind of sounds cool too, right? So a little slide action. Right? So you've got some flavor there. You got some phrasing going on is what we're doing. But you don't want to think about that step, in my opinion, until you get the notes down. You choose your notes. You work on the arrangement. Again, you can skip over strings. I know, horrible. But anyways, you can set up the notes exactly the way that you want. And then once you get your note arrangement, think about the timing and the rhythm. When you want to slow down and stall on this note, hesitate, and then get the other notes in, or another way around. And then you can start playing around with the accents, which is really when it starts to clean up. Okay, now I'm sure that there's plenty more that I can say about this, but I'm probably running out of time, and I wanted to show you this with the D minor pentatonic, because I think to you who sent me this song, you might like this one better, more rockish.